Good evening, everybody. Our December 9, 2024 meeting is called to order. We will proceed with invocation and then pledge of allegiance by our Councilwoman at Large Smith. Let us stand for prayer and pledge. Now let us pray. Gracious God, our Father, we thank you for this day that you have given us, this chance to be grateful and thankful. And so, God, let us all individually, in our own unique way, be thankful for the things that you have done, the many things that you have done, and those things that you continue to do. As a collective unit, as citizens of this fine city, we know that this season that is upon us is one in which we are very busy in different areas of government, other volunteers and organizations. We just thank you that these days will be played out in a way that is safe, that is filled with fun and laughter and cheer and just really what this season is all about. We also thank you, Lord God, for making provision for those individuals as we are approaching one of the biggest holidays of the entire year, making provisions for those who are lonely, those who are in need, those who are without food. And so we thank you for that. And now as we turn to a new year, the year 2025, we're just anticipating and expecting and even thanking you in advance for great things that will happen in the city of Natchitoches, that you would keep us moving forward in a way and only which you can. We give you glory and praise for these things now. It's in your Son, Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Would you please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Councilwoman at Large. The next item on the agenda is reading and approval of the minutes from our most recent meeting, which was on November 25th of this year.
Mayor, I would like to make a motion that we dispense with the reading of the minutes of November 25th, 2024, and that they be adopted, approved and adopted.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to approve and adopt the minutes as they have been recorded. Any comment about this particular motion? All right, seeing none, Mrs. Stacy, roll call vote.
Eli,
Yes.
Nelson,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Harrington,
Yes.
PT.
Yes.
All right, that motion carries. You know, we recognize an employee of the month, and for this month, it's an individual who works at the Natchitoches Regional Airport, Mr. Bobby Toussaint. So I don't think his Facebook post has made it to our city page just yet, but take a look at that when you do see it. It's going to have some particular things about Mr. Bobby. Ed, I'm not sure if there's something you might want to say here.
Yeah, Bobby's been a great employee. He gets along with people. When people just show up at the airport, they hit it off right away. He's easy to talk to, easy to carry on a conversation with. He's motivated, does a good job moving airplanes in and out the hangars, refueling airplanes. So he's highly motivated, very, very good employee. We're happy to have him.
Well, great. And like I said, we'll do that Facebook post before the week is out. So Mr. Bobby's not here with us, but again, we did want to recognize him. All right, next we've got a special guest, and just want to introduce the introduction of the new fire department mascot. So, Chief, I don't know if you want to give us some kind of segue before we introduce our new mascot.
So about 2 years ago, in 2022, we started this search for a new mascot. Well, through the help of the mayor and the city council and Merchant McIntyre, we applied for a grant and we got Ash, Captain Ash, our alligator mascot, if y'all would please. And I'm fixing to let Corey walk up and give you a little bit of history about Ash. He actually made his debut at our Christmas festival this year. And Corey, it's up to you now.
He's going to bite your head.
You gotta watch it. Yeah, he's got some teeth on him. But no, so like Chief Wynn said, in 2022, we started this project with Cane River National Heritage Area as just a concept of trying to come up with a coloring book. And then that quickly evolved into getting the grant through with y'all, with the city council and the mayor's help with Merchant McIntyre, and this is the fruits of our labor 2 years later, but it is great to have him here. I think he's going to be a huge success in the future for our department and for our city to be able to get out and spread a fire prevention message to all ages of people. So we thank you, Mayor, City Council, for your help in making this happen. And we are very excited. Chief Wynn has a little token of our appreciation that we want to give to each of the mayor and the city council. These are our first ever challenge coins that we had designed. And it actually has ash on one side and then our emblem on the other side. So these are also for sale at the fire department, by the way. So.
Free advertising.
But yeah, if you, Mr. Mayor, if it'd be okay, if you could, if you and the city council would mind taking a picture with Ash?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Oh, yeah, so we just received $57,000 grant with Merchant McIntyre for the fire prevention. We got this, of course, which is great. We also got a brand new enclosed trailer that the first 10 feet of it is enclosed that will house all of our fire prevention stuff that we have, that I can go into any community and do any sort of event because the back 12 feet is like a stage. So I can set it up. It will be our parade float from now on. We didn't have it completed this year. We're going to put some wrap material on it to make it look kind of like a fire truck with Ash driving in one seat and things like that. So, and then we got a lot of new fire prevention material that we will be using, of course, on Northwestern campus and throughout the city and the parish and multiple parishes that we go into. So, yeah, we got a lot of great things with that grant and still more coming in. A fire extinguisher prop that is amazing, that we took it to NSU for the first time and debuted it, and they were just blown away by it. It is virtual reality, but it is really cool. So we look forward to being able to, show everyone that in the near future. So, all right, thank you.
That's great, great. Thank you.
All right, let's get this picture.
Let me ask one question before you
Yes,
leave. Do you all go into the daycares, the little elementary schools? I know
Yes,
the kids would love to see
Oh, yeah,
Ash.
no, we go into every school in the parish with the coloring books, and now Ash will be coming with me in every school that we go to.
Great, great.
So-
Okay.
You guys stand in the parade? Do we need to?
He stood out there in the fire truck.
Back up a little bit, there you go. It's such a Louisiana. Man. All right, ready?
Okay, kind of free smile, everybody. Thank you.
And I think we should say we were only, so far that the last time I looked at it, one of only 2 Louisiana cities that received AFG assistance for firefighters grant during this cycle at the time I looked at it. So it's been a couple months since I took a look, but again, I think that is something. And it is a grant in which there's no local match. So we got, I think, or is there a small match?
Small match.
There's a small match is what it is, yeah, okay. So very small match, but again, 57,000. And so again, it's very cool, and we're happy to continue to educate our public about fires and being safe, all right? Moving on to, we have here council. We wanted to move this up. Of course, we had some people to talk about this particular short-term rental application during the pre-meeting. So if you all have any comments you'd like to share at this time, obviously, again, it's just for introduction, so it'll be on the agenda, our first meeting in January, because we only have one meeting this month. And then we will certainly allow public comment on anything that's introduced after it's been introduced, and then for a second meeting. So any comment at this time, council?
Mayor, the only comment I'd like to add at this time is this is the only application out of, I think, 8 or 9 that we have that I got any phone calls or emails, texts, social media contacts, and I got multiple The rest of them I got 0. So it does stand on its own. It's in one of the older neighborhoods, very well established, and it's very residential. So
I don't think Ms. Vape is here. Eli, I skipped, but we need Eli to read that? Do we need that to happen? Yeah, so I skipped down, so you may have to, oh, you already got it open?
I already
Oh,
got it
okay, you got it, go ahead. So we'll,
Thank you, Mayor. Ordinance number 46 of 2024, an ordinance amending the ordinance number 64 of 2001 by changing the zoning classification property described as falling Lot 6, Block H, Parkway Estate Unit 2, less small triangle tract taken off the eastern side and small lot out of the northwest corner of Lot 5, 400 Parkway, whereas the planning and zoning of the city of Natchitoches, state of Louisiana, had recommended at the meeting on December the 3rd, 2024, that the application of Sonny Ross to rezone the property described as above R1 to R2, special expectation for operation of a short-term rental be approved, and this is for introduction only. And I really don't, I know I received a phone call from one resident. I know Dale said that he had received several phone calls from other residents. But I know they had said that it was gonna be for a bed, Airbnb, but on here it says short-term rental. And I know Ms. Centrell said that it's gonna be other documents that they have to approve on it. And I know y'all said that the neighbors, the next door neighbor had a complaint, but she's not able to attend the meeting on the complaint. Has she written any type of statement saying this?
She was at the planning and zoning. She was at that meeting. She was sick tonight.
Excuse me, do you mind coming to the podium, please, and state your name for the record, please?
Missy Lane Bacon was
ma'am.
at the planning and zoning meeting, but she is ill today and was not able to come tonight. But she is,
So she lives next door
she lives
to-
right next door to this property. And it may say short-term rental, and maybe that's the application, but Sonia Ross,
Said that it.
she said herself, it would be, she would operate through Airbnb.
Okay,
She said herself in that meeting.
okay.
and I think what Chantrell is saying is that Airbnb is the official vehicle, but short-term is,
That's the use.
the booking
It's the use
vehicle.
as a short-term rental, but the vehicle to advertise is through Airbnb, Verbo, and any of those names. It's the same thing.
so they advertise short-term rentals,
Correct.
Verbo.
They do it through
Airbnb.
the Airbnb,
It's like we
Verbo
say Coke
websites.
for every soft drink down there, you know? I want a Coke. but
She
you
did
don't actually want
state
Coke, you want something else.
that taxes would be collected,
Yes.
and
Correct.
as far as I'm concerned, when you collect taxes for the city, that is a business.
Okay, all right, and thank you, Ms. Rhonda.
Thank you.
Any other comment, council, about this particular one?
Yeah, I'll point out a few things, and we're not voting on it tonight. Yet again, it's for introduction only. It's January something, the first meeting in January is voted on. The ordinances, we had several meetings to redo our ordinances and to try to clarify. Our ordinances before didn't mention anything about short-term rentals, so we had to clear that up, specify that. And what our ordinances amended, what they state now, I'll just read a couple parts of it. This is for R1 districts, which this is in an R1 district. And it says in R1 district, it says the district regulations are designed to protect the residential character of the areas by prohibiting all commercial activities, which is pretty strong language. Now it says there are special exceptions. And there's special exceptions such as an airport or a cemetery or a church or short-term rentals and electrical substations. There's different special exceptions. And it says each special exception possess such characteristics of unique or special form that each specific use shall be considered an individual case. So, you know, what that means is you're still having to adhere to the character of this R1 district. And you can have a special exception. Does that special exception on its own, does it fit in that character of that R1 district? And so there's a lot of them before us that are introduced to us that do, because they're right next to already bed and breakfasts that are established. They're in the historic district. Yeah, it's an R1 zone, but there's businesses all mixed in R1 zone already, so they fit. And then there's situations like this where there's zero business activity going on already. I mean, it's just straight a neighborhood, an R1 neighborhood. I don't know how you could argue it fits that character. And if you want to argue, well, what even is defined as the character? Well, the people who live there is one way to define the character. And so you can look at what we in the legal world called legislative intent. And so, you know, in court you can argue what you see it a lot in Congress, for instance, what the legislative intent was when they made this bill, when they made this, they passed this legislation, which this is for the city. And what was their intent when they passed it? What was the arguments? What was said? Why was their reasoning, et cetera, et cetera? And we had a lot of meetings about it, a lot of in public meetings that you can see the recordings of. And I think all of us agreed it was to keep this out of residential neighborhoods that were solely residential neighborhoods was our legislative intent. So that's the legal argument right there. I'm going to write that down. So.
But
Any
we
other,
also-
question? I see you showing try.
But we also stated that with each application, it would be a case-by-case basis.
Yeah.
Not all applications will be approved. It will be based upon different scenarios and different items as far as the characteristic of a neighborhood.
Yeah, and that's, the special exceptions say they're on an individual case basis. So if someone says, we approved that one down here, okay, well now look at that one individually on its own. Yet again, it's right next to a bed and breakfast that's already established. Why would we not approve? And short-term rental, that would be an Airbnb or Verbo, blah, 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 whatever. In this situation, it's just a residential neighborhood. There's,
If I might
No
add one thing,
businesses.
if she were to if this is for income purposes, and she wanted to lease her home long-term, a year lease, like a lot of properties are in Natchitoches, I would have no problem with that. That's her property to do that. But when it comes to someone different possibly going in every weekend, that's when it constitutes a business. So I would just, again, thank y'all for letting us
Thank you, ma'am.
approach this.
Any other council members want to say something at this time?
Thank
and
you.
that's why we had to change the ordinances, because before there was no
Guys,
real
No
distinction
guidelines
between
of-
long-term rentals, which is a residence. If someone's long-term rental, I mean, they could change their address there. They could change their voter registration of that address. But a short-term rental, you're staying for a weekend, obviously you can't do that. So there's it cannot be your residence. So we had to make that distinction, which made why we had these meetings before and made this change that went through. And this just went through, and that's why all of a sudden all these popped up, because they've been waiting for us to do this. And
Took a while.
yeah, it took us a while to get it all down, yeah.
Okay. All right, again, January 13th is the day in which we'll see this one and the other ones that are being introduced tonight. Let us get back in order a little bit, and it's actually on you again, Councilwoman Washington Eli, for introduction of ordinance 041.
All right, thank you, Mayor. Ordinance number 041 of 2024, an ordinance amending the ordinance number 64, 2001 by changing the zoning classification of the property described as following. Lot being 150 feet square out of Lot 62 of East Broadmoor subdivision list 23317 1.7 correction square feet, Highway Department list 336 square feet to Highway Department list 14 acres to Highway Department 97 South Drive. And this was introduced on December 3rd, 2014. The application was Muhammad Asbru, how you pronounce that name?
Hasid.
Hasid, to rezone the property described as above B3 commercial to B3. This special extension for BA, reopen the gasoline stations with convenience store be approved. And this for introduction. I hope I pronounced the name correctly.
You did.
All righty.
Go text.
I would just say that, what's today, the ninth?
Texaco station.
So December 3rd, it couldn't have been December 3rd, right? That would be a Sunday, is that, no, that would be a Tuesday, I'm wrong. That's right, that would be a Tuesday, you're right. So yeah, it can be December 3rd. All right, Chantrell, is there any remark on this one?
This is the Texaco that's on the corner of Kaiser and South Drive. It's been closed for quite some time. They have a new owner for this location and the one on University. However, because the business has been closed for over 90 days, they're wanting to sell packaged liquor on premise, but they have to do the rezone of BA before they can apply for a liquor license.
Makes sense, time has lapsed and they gotta reapply.
Safety net.
Right.
With our alcohol ordinances, that it reverts back to its basic zone.
So they're getting ready to bring this back into commerce. And I think I've seen some improvements already, right?
Yeah, it looks good.
They've
This is
repainted,
really great.
they've repainted everything.
The one is open.
Texaco itself has also upgraded their outside advertising for signage, so you start seeing with the new Texaco, the new signage that's gonna come about.
That's great.
Okay, any comment here, council? I mean, we've seen these before, different businesses and properties around town. All right, again, we'll see this up for final vote on the 13th. All right, the next one for introduction is ordinance 042, read by Councilwoman at-large Smith.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Mayor. Ordinance number 42042 of 2024, an ordinance amending ordinance number 64 of 2001 by changing zoning classification of property described as follows. Lot at northeast corner of Williams Avenue and Scarborough Street, being part of Block J of East Natchitoches Addition and described as Lot 1 of Louise Schumann subdivision, as shown on plat in Map Book 1, page 252, from R1 to R1. Address 301 Williams Avenue. Whereas this was introduced at the meeting, at the Planning and Zoning meeting of December 3rd, that the application of James F. Matoyer to rezone the property described above from R1 to R1 with a special exception for operation of a short-term rental to be approved. And this is for introduction only.
Comment about this one, council? I do take Councilman Nielsen's comment. Again, he received some calls about the one on Parkway, but none of the others.
So is this in
This is
I
a-
got a question.
Yeah.
So this in the residential area or historic?
It's in the historic district, but the use for short-term rental doesn't have an effect on whether or not it's in the historic district.
Okay, okay, I didn't recognize this one. This one's over here by
It's cute.
Where?
Scarborough Street at the corner.
It's not white anymore, the building is now blue.
Okay.
It's, what did you say, Chantrell? I'm sorry.
They've upgraded it, so it's not white, it's a bluish color.
Oh, okay.
And it's already, there's many bed and breakfasts already near it.
Correct.
Right next to it, and it's, might be right next door to it, huh?
It is, right
Yeah,
across the
thought so.
street.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
you see the fence of the Keegan house.
Correct.
Okay, I just wondered.
So, yeah.
And so if we approve all these applications, you'll have one next door to it, diagonally across the street from it, two more down the street.
Yeah, there's several in that area.
It's probably why no one's here, because they already have some in that area
Right.
already, so
Correct.
that's understandable.
Or
Okay.
it meets the character
It's
of
the
it.
character.
All righty.
I'm gonna have a question for every last one of them.
Go ahead.
All right. Again, we'll see that on the 13th. The next one is,
The ninth.
On the 9th?
No, I think it's the 13th.
That's a, yeah, typo.
Typo? Okay.
Okay.
So he's right.
Okay.
All right, so ordinance number 043 of 2024, Councilman PT.
Thank you, Mayor. Ordinance number 043 of 2024, an ordinance amending ordinance number 64 of 2021 by changing zoning classification of property described as below. Lot 13 and north half of Lot 12 and north 75 feet of Lot 14, Block AA of Roy Addition. This particular property is located at 126 North Street, whereas the Planning Commission of the City of Natchitoches, State of Louisiana, has recommended at their meeting on December 3rd of 2024 that the application of Denise McConduit be amended to request to rezone the property described above from R2 to R1 special exception for operation of a short-term rental. This is for introduction.
I would just like to comment, let the record reflect that he said 2021, but it's 2001 in the minutes when it's recorded, so.
Okie dokie. Any comment, council, about this particular ordinance?
I do.
Yeah, I kind of speak on it, man. I'm really familiar with that property, and I say probably about 3 years ago, they came in and they re-gutted that property and did that house over. But right across the street from it, you got, it's like I believe it's like either a 6 or 8 unit apartment complex that sit on the corner.
I know what you're talking.
So again, it's like the area is, it's kind of commercial in a way. And of course, the street over, which is University Parkway, where you got, all your businesses running there as well. And I want to say even across the street, you may already have a short-term rental directly across the street from their property as well.
Gotcha.
Did a nice job on that house.
And I think it's right behind Chick-fil-A, I believe.
Yeah, it fits kind of behind it.
And it's a lot of rental there. Yeah, they did an incredible job on it.
Nice big porch.
Yeah. So yet again, I think it fits the character of that area.
Because you already have that type of rental going on. Okay. All righty. Again, it will be at our next meeting. Moving on to the next item on the agenda, it's read by Councilman Nielsen.
Thank you, Mayor. Back to Williams Avenue, ordinance number 44, 2024, an ordinance amending ordinance number 64, 2001 by changing zoning classification of property described as follows. Lot east side Williams Avenue, north by Hart, east by East 2nd Street, south by Schuman, 307 Williams Avenue, whereas the Planning Commission of the City of Natchitoches, State of Louisiana, has recommended at their meeting of December 3, 2024, that the application of Lori Dearman to rezone the property described above from R1 to R1 special exception for operation of a short-term rental be approved.
All righty. Any comment about this, council?
And this is right by that other one on Williams we just talked about. So yet again, it's surrounded by bed and breakfast. There's that Louisiana motel, they call it, right across the street from it. And I think that's what is the name of it, the bed and breakfast, but, yeah.
Okay. All righty. Okay, again, that's on the 13th of January. All right, next, Councilman Harrington.
This is ordinance 45 of 2024, an ordinance amending ordinance 64 of 2001 by changing zoning classification of property described as follows. It's 930 2nd Street, and whereas the Planning Commission, the City of Natchitoches, has recommended at their meeting of December 3rd, 2024, that the application of D&KP Investments LLC to rezone the property described above from R1 to R1 special exception for operation of a short-term rental be approved. It's for introduction.
What is it on
Is that the end? It's got to be the end of 2nd Street, closer to the university. Is that right, Chantrell?
That's going closer to Texas Street.
Oh, it's this way?
Texas Street, oh.
Okay.
It's this way, sitting on a hill like.
Up on the
There's
hill.
a
Sitting
home
on a
road
hill,
back there.
sitting on a hill.
Oh, okay.
Is that the one on
Okay.
that? Okay. I'm trying to see on that.
So it's going this way.
Going
I was
towards,
going
on the
wrong
left
way.
side,
Going
on the
this way.
left-hand side?
It's a good
Yeah. it's gonna be going this way, it's gonna be on the left side.
So I'm asking, when you're going toward Texas, so it's gonna be on the left side, I wanna say,
will
probably
be.
on the right, okay,
It's sitting on top of a hill.
on that hill, okay.
Comment about this, council?
They got bed and breakfast over there too, at the end?
Just about every property over there is some type of rental.
Oh, okay. I'm just writing it down.
Yeah, it fits the area.
Okay. All right, again, we'll see it in the new year. We're gonna,
Skip
not 046, let's go 047, Councilwoman At-Large Smith.
Okay, Mayor. This is ordinance number 047 of 2024, an ordinance amending ordinance number 64 of 2001 by changing zoning classification of property described as follows. Lot east side Jefferson Street, north by City of Natchitoches, east by City of Natchitoches, south by Sutton, being 401 Jefferson Street. Whereas the Planning Commission of the City of Natchitoches has recommended at their meeting on December the 3rd that the application of Carrie and Maria Durr to rezone the properties described above from R1 to R1, special exception for operation of a short-term rental be approved, and this is for introduction only.
Same comment as we said before?
And that has businesses all, I mean, there's the radio stations right across from it, isn't
Right.
that where it is?
Yeah, they're
This is the house
repainting it
that
right
just got
across.
redone.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it looks tremendous.
Oh, this is the
does.
one that had the big sinkhole. Is
Right,
that
the
right?
big sinkhole.
Okay.
That's the one.
They're doing,
There's a bed and
Really,
breakfast right
really
across
good.
from it
Oh,
already.
yeah, right
I mean,
across from it.
So it fits that area.
They really
doing some good work with this one.
Yeah, across from the
Doing some good work.
Great
radio
property.
station.
Yep. Okay, all right. No additional comment? All right, the last one that we have today is 048, and it's Councilman Nielsen.
Thank you, Mayor. Ordinance number 48 of 2024, ordinance amending ordinance number 64, 2001 by changing zoning classification of property described as follows. Lot southeast corner of Duplex and Primrose Streets, known as Demazier Street, and from which point, well, I'm not going to read all that, but it's 425 Demazier Street, and Planning Commission of the City of Natchitoches recommended at their meeting December 3rd that the application of Sarah Roosh be amended to request to rezone the property described from R2 to R1 special exception for operation of a short-term rental be approved.
Comment, y'all?
Ms. Chantrell, is this the one beside the graveyard, behind that graveyard? I'm trying to remember.
No, this is right before, so if you are coming behind where the Second Street apartments are, there's street right behind it. There's that's Duplex Street, and then there's a cross street. This is on the
It's like
other
on a
side of
corner.
the graveyard.
Oh, okay.
It's across the
I
street.
got you,
Yeah.
okay.
It's kind of right down across from the
Yeah,
cemetery.
everything around that piece of property is rentable.
It's rental, it sure is.
Yeah, right before you get to the big curve.
Yeah.
I was trying to
Good.
call the property.
Okay. Any other comment or question about this one? All righty. So I know we had quite a few short-term rental applications before us. As I said already, we'll address these at our meeting our first meeting in January. All right? If there are any questions, please reach out, namely to Chantrell if you have a question that comes around. But I think these are pretty straightforward as they are. Moving on to some ordinances for final, but I'm going to ask Councilman P.T. I know Councilman Harrington is going to take care of ordinance 37, but Councilman P.T., can you go ahead and introduce for us under introduction ordinance number 49 of 2024?
49?
Yeah, and it's assigned to you, but if we think it makes sense right now to go ahead and introduce it, and then we'll deal with the ones that are for final.
Hold on, we gotta pull it out.
Here, I can have mine.
Yeah, it's for introduction, but it's dealing with LIPA, so.
Okay. Ordinance number 049 of 2024, an ordinance approving a full requirement incentive agreement by and between Louisiana Energy and Power Authority and the City of Natchitoches, authorizing the mayor of the City of Natchitoches, Ronnie Williams Jr., to execute the same. And this is for introduction only.
Okay. Matt, you want to say something about this?
I wanted to make the council aware of this ordinance prior to voting for the final of the ordinance for the LIPA. So LIPA offers new members, and we're not the first member they've done this for. This is standard procedure. They offer new members an incentive agreement. So, like I said last council meeting, LIPA, when we become, if we become a customer of LIPA, they bundle all of their customers' energy together, which makes it cheaper. So if we join LIPA, all the other cities that are full requirements member, their costs go down because they split the cost between everybody. So they've agreed that if a new city comes on board as a full requirements member, they will share the savings that they see with us for the first 2 years. So they'll share part of the savings the first year, and then it'll go down the second year. So the estimated off of our past load, they estimate that savings over a 2-year period to be $515,000. So we will get in the form of a rebate each month for the next 2 years, starting in July of 25, if we sign with LIPA. And then after those 2 years, of course, everybody shares in the lower cost. Anyway, so nothing really changes after the 2 years for the other members, but the city will enjoy that savings. It's a 5-year contract.
What would be the benefit for the residents?
For the residents?
Yeah,
It would lower their energy cost.
lower the energy
Yes,
cost.
So how
You have
low
a
would it be?
percentage?
I'm sorry.
Do you have a percentage that, speculate?
I didn't have the calculations with me. It's about $25,000 a month. So in the grand scheme of things, if you're paying a $1 million to $1,100,000 electric bill to your provider, $25,000 is not a lot, but it is something. Is that, I'm not sure if I explained that correctly.
And it's just for the first 2 years of the contract?
Yeah, it'd just be a pass-through, so that rebate we would pass through to our customers, which would essentially lower our bill for that month.
So I have a question.
Okay.
So they only have 11 cities that has this energy company that I see on here, 11 small.
There are
new roads
19
and-
member cities of LIPA, but not all the cities, just like we aren't at the current time, we're CLECO customers. Not all the cities buy all of their power from LIPA.
So we have 50 kilowatt the 2nd through the 13th, and an average of one rate of 25 kilowatts for 14 through the 12th, 25th month. So that'd be a total of, for basically the rate would be $14, basically, if I'm doing it right. So it'd be a total of $14, and CLECO rate is was where I looked on Google was $12.50, so that's like $1 and some cents upward.
No, for the incentive agreement, what they're gonna do is they're gonna take our average load and they're gonna multiply that times 50 cents per kilowatt. Right, and the average load right now is 57,250 kilowatts. So that equals out to about $28,625 per month.
For a small household, so how much would
No,
it break?
I'm talking citywide.
Yeah, that's what I was saying though, that's what I was saying, like, how would it break down if we do use it? How would it break down towards the household rate of it and stuff?
Just guessing, right, not much, probably $1.
$1.25?
Yeah.
So that's what I was
It's
adding,
not gonna lower the
$1.25.
cost, because we're buying about 21 million kilowatt hours per month. Megawatt hours.
Yeah.
Per month, so 50 cents times 57,000, it's not a lot. I mean, you won't see a huge savings to the customers.
So basically, if your bill $200 and some and stuff, you'll see an extra 150 or so at the max, or
No,
less
no.
than $75.
No, what I'm saying is it will probably lower the cost of each person's electricity, and the more electricity they use, the higher the savings would be, right? Because it's per kilowatt hour. You know, a couple dollars a month.
And we wanted to move this up just to kind of explain the incentive
Right,
now
right. So we're
from LIPA.
what we're doing is introducing this because there's no use voting on this if we don't become LIPA members, right?
Right.
So this was sent to us after the last council meeting, after the LIPA members. So we had a LIPA meeting 2 weeks ago. I abstained from voting, as did a couple other cities. We voted, or the LIPA board voted to give this incentive to Natchitoches. So if we become LIPA members and we vote for this, which I don't know why we wouldn't, it's a savings to the city, then next council meeting, we would vote to accept this incentive. LIPA's offered the incentive, now we just have to vote to accept it.
So just wanted to explain that. And thank you, Matt. Again, 500,000, I think, what?
$525,000.
Over 2 years.
It's saving the city some money.
Savings the citizens, that's correct.
It's
Yeah.
saving the city some money, but not the citizens.
Yes.
That's what I'm saying. It's saving the city money, but not the citizens.
Yes,
Well-
it would save,
Ultimately will,
it would save, you know how every month our PCA changes, our power cost adjustment? So if we add this rebate, this
incentive.
credit into the cost of our power each month, it will lower the PCA a slight amount.
A slight.
So yes, this savings is passed on to the.
Passed on to the right.
Yeah, and we do have our consultant here today.
Yes.
Yep, and so just wanted to explain that. That's why we moved that up. That's Councilman PT. I appreciate you for being willing to adjust real quickly. But the ordinance we want to read that we've already introduced at the last meeting, and at some point we'll have our consultant to come explain why we landed on LIPA the way we did. Councilman Harrington, this is ordinance number 037 of 2024.
This has been introduced previously. This is ordinance 37 of 2024, an ordinance accepting and approving the power supply agreement for sale of power and energy between Louisiana Energy and Power Authority, LIPA, and the city of Natchitoches, Louisiana, and authorizing the mayor to execute the power supply agreement on behalf of the city. I move to adopt ordinance 37 of 2024.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Forgive me, Mr. Consultant, I'm not.
Frank Ledoux.
Frank Ledoux?
Yes.
Frank Ledoux. So we had a meeting, I guess, a few weeks ago, and just to kind of say, we know that our CLECO agreement is ending, I think, May 31 of 2025.
Correct.
We also were informed that CLECO is, they're getting out of that they didn't do a bid on our, to provide us power for another 3-5 years, or whatever the case may be. So we have to buy power from somebody else. I mean, that's where we are. And so Mr. Ledoux is going to want you to come to the microphone and just explain. And I know he's going to tell us about his experience with these type of things. And every time we've done this, we've always had a consultant. Of course, finance has been a part, utility director has been a part, the city attorney has been a part, but we also have a consultant as well who knows this business really well. State your first and last name and then just
Sure.
tell us your experience.
My name is Frank Ledoux. I have about 43 years of experience in the utility industry. Includes electric, water, wastewater. I worked for Lafayette Utilities for 33 years, retired from there, and I've been doing consulting for the last 10 years, assisting municipals and other entities that have utility-related issues that they have to deal with. The current agreement with CLECO terminates May 31, 2025. They opted not to bid on this particular contract. Industry has changed quite a bit in the last few years. Typically, you would see bids come in from multiple suppliers that would be fixed price for the two main cost items in these types of agreement are the capacity and the energy cost. This time, no one gave a firm price for capacity and energy. I've never seen that happen before. What they would give was indicative pricing that was subject to change. As I said, the two main items, what you look at is capacity and energy charges. We had one that gave us indicative pricing on capacity and energy. The other two gave us indicative pricing on energy only, not even capacity. They're basically saying, whatever it costs us to get it is what it's going to be. We don't know what that is. We don't even want to attempt to give you a price because the industry is changing so much. Prices are changing. So it made it difficult to try to evaluate this. Now, the LIPA proposal, it's not even a proposal. LIPA does not submit competitive bids. LIPA has a standard contract they offer to all prospective members that want to buy power. So they just said, here's our standard contract, here's our projected pricing if you would enter into this contract. And we tried to compare that. They gave us some, you know, it's not firm, but it's at least projections of what their cost is going to be. And we tried to assume some numbers on the other proposals that weren't complete to try to have some kind of idea if they were in the ballpark. So LIPA was the one that came out. It was actually lower cost projections than the other entities, and we've recommended to proceed with the agreement with LIPA at this point in time. Be happy to answer any questions you may have.
So what was the number? See, that's what I'm trying to get to. What was the number?
Okay. The prices are going to be higher than what you're paying now. I think you're paying
That's
like
what I added up to.
56. Your purchase power adjustment, I think, was for 2024. The most updated numbers we had, I think, was 4.6 cents a kilowatt hour. What's projected on the LIPA is 5.8. Okay, so if you're looking at 1.2 cents per kilowatt hour average residential here in Natchitoches, I think you're looking at maybe $14 a month.
That's what I added up, $14 a month from $12.50 that we was normally paying, and it's high.
And the other suppliers were higher. So LIPA, you know, our best guess, LIPA was 5.8 cents, and the other suppliers were 6.7, 6.4, 7 cents. So they were even higher. So you're going to see increases in cost no matter which way you go. That's a result of capacity costs going higher, fuel costs going higher. So that's just the kind of the way it is, you know. Right now, I don't know what else you could do. We took, you know, we went out, we searched, we asked for multiple suppliers to give us prices. They were very hesitant to give us anything firm. This is kind of the nature of the industry at this point in time. It's a 5-year agreement. You can get out at 5 years. You have to give a 2-year notice ahead of time. So you go 3 years, give notice, 2 years ahead of time, you can get out. But then it extends year to year. If you don't opt out, it extends year to year, but you can always give that 2-year notice to, you know, if you want to opt out of it at any point in time. One thing different, the LIPA proposal is, it's a joint action agency. It's made up of cities just like Natchitoches. You all have representation on that board. You get a vote. You get to see, it's total transparency. You get to see all their numbers, all their costs, where it's coming from. So there's no doubt about that. And they also have the tools and resources to manage their power portfolio quite well. They have some outside resources that, you know, I've dealt with before when I was with the city of Lafayette that are quite good at that. They do it all across the country, and they do strictly municipal utility type work. So there's steps that they can take to try to hedge higher prices in this market. They can buy energy ahead of time. They can buy, you know, and lock in prices. They can buy a part of it. They can buy all of it. There's lots of strategies they use, and they do this every day, looking out for your interests because they're nonprofit. They're not making a profit. They're just recovering all their costs, and their interest is to look out for your interest to keep your costs as low as it can be.
And I'll add to that, LIPA does not have a president with a huge salary, and myself and the mayor, we sit on the board of directors for LIPA, so we vote on the rates that we actually charge ourselves. One of the big components is the capacity. That capacity charge, the LIPA board members vote what that will be for the coming year. Now, of course, you have to look and make sure you're covering your costs, but we have a voice with this at setting our rates. It's not just, it is what it is kind of thing.
Also,
We've
like-
never had that voice before, I think you're saying.
Yeah, we've never been able to do that before.
Yeah, and LIPA's been quite competitive. Their rates over the past 3 years are actually less than CLECO.
Yeah.
So they have a track record of doing a good job. And I think I need to mention there's 3 agreements.
I'm sorry, you said it again, the past few years, you say what? They've been less than?
The CLECO, the LIPA cost has been less than the CLECO cost over the last 3 years. So that gives you some sense of what their track record is. Even though the prices are going up, I think if, it's all the other folks that made proposals were higher than LIPA.
They're going up more.
So how long have we been with CLECO, Pat? Can you tell me that? Since LIPA is.
We've been with CLECO at least 20 years.
20-some years?
Yes.
with CLECO? So as of what you're saying, actually, we have no choice, I'm assuming, because LIPA is the cheapest after all your research with all the other.
Right, even though the price is gonna be higher than
Higher.
you're paying under the CLECO agreement now, but CLECO was a locked-in price that was locked in 3 years ago. Prices have gone up, the regulatory environment has changed that causes prices to go up. So there's a lack of capacity out on the power market right now that's gonna even get tighter. So when you don't have supply, prices go up. So that's why all these other suppliers were hesitant to even lock in a price. None of them would. And I think it's important that I also mention to you, there's 3 agreements that would be involved in this deal with LIPA. One is the full service requirements agreement, which we're looking at now. That spells out terms of service, pricing for demand, prices for energy, transmission, et cetera. The other one that is after this, that's coming up for final, is a hydro pooling agreement. Natchitoches gets an allocation of federal hydropower from the government. You're what's called a preference customer. All the municipals in the state basically got allocated a certain amount. Its energy comes from the Missouri, Arkansas area out of dams. It's hydro energy. So there's a hydro pooling agreement here. What would happen is the allocation of hydro that Natchitoches has now would be turned over to LIPA to act as your agent. LIPA would pick up all the costs of that. They would take that energy and mix it into with their other energy resources they have. And in addition to that, Natchitoches does get some peaking energy out of there and some supplemental. On the supplemental energy, Natchitoches would actually get another rebate, 5 mils per kilowatt hour for any of the supplemental that you get. So that's it. The other one that's coming up. And then there's that incentive agreement that
Right.
we just discussed.
That we just introduced, yeah.
Which would come after. So those are 3 different agreements that would be involved in this arrangement.
So how sure are you in your recommendation to go with LIPA? How confident are you?
I think it's your best choice. I really do. I mean, the for-profit companies, they got to make a profit. That's why they don't want to lock anything in. They're basically telling you, it's going to be whatever it costs me, plus I'm going to mark it up something. That's the bottom line. Where you don't have any say-so, they have lots of customers. These are major corporations in the country that were submitting proposals. So your interest is not going to be as
Hard with them.
as big a concern for them, because they have customers that are much larger than you are, that they're gonna, I think they, in my opinion, they would try to cater to. Where actually in the LIPA group, you're gonna be one of the largest, if not the largest, full service requirements customer they have. So you're important, and you coming into LIPA will help. They have certain fixed costs right now. When you come in, it's gonna lower that on a per kilowatt hour basis, because that fixed cost is not going to change as a result of the Natchitoches coming in. It's going to stay the same, but it's going to be spread to some of the Natchitoches customers and help lower it for everybody. And every time they have another customer come in after Natchitoches, which they have several that are interested now, it's going to even lower it to Natchitoches and everyone else in the group.
Yep.
So you're getting, they aggregate load, so the costs stay the same, the fixed costs, we have more kilowatt hours to spread it out over, it lowers the cost for everyone. And I'm seeing more cities move to LIPA. ERAF has, Abbeville has, as a result of the same thing. St. Martinville has, same situation. The power supplier, the traditional power supplier that was there, wasn't interested in submitting a bid. They got some bids from other private suppliers that were not locked in. And this gives you your best chance to have your power portfolio managed by professionals every day to do everything they can to keep your power costs down. So that's why I feel good about it. They've got a track record that's proven.
Yep.
Is there a membership fee we have to pay?
Excuse me.
No, not that I'm.
If it is, it's very minimal. If it
No,
is,
I don't think there is. I've never,
It might be, Matt, there might be a per meter charge or something, but it's like minimal, you know?
So we'll have to get new meters?
Like, ma'am?
Are we getting new meters?
No, your meters will be the same, but I think there's a slight
Because I know you just
charge.
said a meter charge.
No.
So that's why I was saying, you know, like, are we getting new meters to be a new meter charge?
There is a charge to be a member of LIPA. I'm not sure exactly what it is, but I don't remember, but they charge you so much a meter. If Natchitoches has, Matt, I don't know how many meters you got,
about 8,000.
8,000 meters, it might be 25 cents a meter or something like that. So Lafayette has, 65,000 meters, they're gonna pay a little more because it's gonna be 65,000 times 25 cents.
So the city will be paying it?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, all the members, pay, it's a small fee though, minimum, when you look at the numbers we're talking about for your power supply. It's negligible.
Council, y'all got any questions for Mr. Ledoux?
Yes, sir.
All right.
But the only thing I got, and then I'm gonna say, and I'm gonna shut up, because I know everybody really gonna move to the next thing. So I just want to get it clear. It's not gonna raise up every year, or it's gonna just be the same rate of 5 years? That's what I didn't understand.
Well, what's gonna happen is, LIPA, it's gonna be whatever their cost is that year. If their costs go down, your costs will go down. If
And
their cost
understand
goes
this,
up-
our cost with CLECO now changes every month. The electricity that our consumers buy, our residents buy, is different every month. So for the past year, it's actually been down, but the year before that, our electricity costs were up.
Remember that, yeah.
Clarissa
Yeah.
had to actually make a budget adjustment because we
Yep.
spent more than the allocated budget money buying electricity from CLECO. So a lot of that cost is dependent on the cost of natural gas and coal, which are two main energy sources, or fuel sources, excuse me. So CLECO, the bill from CLECO is not set. It changes monthly. So that's why we do the PCA, and I send it to the mayor every month. The cost of our electricity changes with the market, and it's going to remain the same with LIPA.
We just don't want to add any extra hardship
Yeah,
on
on
the
the
residents,
No.
financial hardship, that's the thing
Like
with
Frank
that. We
said,
just-
we compared the cost of what we would have been charged from LIPA for the past 3 years versus what we were charged from CLECO. And over the past 3 years, we could have saved the residents some money. Wasn't a great big amount.
Had we gone with LIPA 3 years ago.
Right.
I just don't have no paper in front of me and stuff, and I just don't know.
Yeah.
Where we're at right now is, we're not gonna have energy in Natchitoches.
That's
We don't
gonna
do
ask if we
anything.
don't.
Right, we sent out RFPs specifically to 7 companies. We specifically talked to them and emailed them the RFP. Only 3 companies and LIPA responded. So that means
Yeah.
the other companies weren't even interested in supplying that.
And the other 3 are more expensive than LIPA, so.
That's correct.
Anyway, there
They
is
wouldn't
gonna
lock
be a little more of a
Right,
hardship.
if we don't go
But
with
the other
LIPA,
one's
and we
gonna be way
go
more of a
with
hardship.
the next lowest person, it's gonna be higher than.
Yeah.
And had CLECO entered a bid, submitted a bid, it was gonna be higher.
I don't know, possibly.
LIPA was the only company that gave us all of the numbers. The rest of the bids that came in would not commit to a number, so you couldn't really nail it down to the penny. It would have driven it.
It's impossible. You're never gonna get
So,
numbers that say this is what it is every month for all the
Yeah.
different components that make up the electric bill. It just doesn't happen.
The choice to me comes down to you choose the cheaper of the ones that responded to us, or you don't have any electricity.
Correct.
And you get a voice with these folks, and, you know, it's not just about profit, so.
an opportunity to control your destiny.
Any other comment here? Because I know we've talked a lot on it. I think there's clear understanding, I believe so. Any other comment? Thank you, Mr. Ledoux, for
Yes, sir.
being here
Thank
to
you.
explain it. Yes, sir. Mr. Stacy, roll call vote. Oh, yeah. She come? Oh, you see? Okay. All right, Ms. Stacy, roll call vote.
Eli,
I don't need much, no, but, we need electricity, Lord, yes.
Nelson,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Harrington,
Yes.
PT.
Yes.
All right, that motion carries. Next item is read by Councilman Nielsen, 038 of 2024.
Thank you, Mayor. This is the hydropower, and it was introduced at the last meeting, so I'll read it in title only. Ordinance number 38 of 2024, an ordinance approving a hydropower pooling agreement by and between Louisiana Energy and Power Authority and City of Natchitoches, and authorizing the mayor of the City of Natchitoches, Ronnie Williams Jr., to execute same. And I move that we adopt ordinance number 38 of 2024.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Matt, just give us a
Yeah,
refresher on
this,
this.
like Frank spoke of, this is our hydropower that we buy from the federal government every month. And we're just allowing LIPA to take that power and pool it in with the rest of the resources. And allows them to be our scheduling agent for that power, which CLECO does that for us now. So it's really, we're giving LIPA more or less the authority to do what CLECO's doing for us now with that hydropower.
Any comments or questions about this, council? Any general comment about this item? Seeing none, Mrs. Stacy, roll call vote.
Eli,
Yes.
Nelson,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Harrington.
Yes.
PT.
Yes.
All right, that motion carries. Next item is ordinance number 39 of 2024. Councilman Harrington.
And this has been introduced previously, so I'll read by title only. Ordinance 39 of 2024, an ordinance of the City of Natchitoches, Louisiana, approving that instrument titled Cooperative Endeavor Agreement between the City of Natchitoches and David L. Dozet, Sheriff of the Parish of Avoyelles, which agreement provides for costs for housing of male and female pretrial inmates in accordance with Louisiana Revised Statute 15706, prescribing terms and conditions for said agreement, and authorizing the mayor of the City of Natchitoches, Ronnie Williams Jr., to execute same. I move to adopt ordinance 39 of 2024.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. This came about when LaSalle took over for the detention center here from the Natchitoches Parish Sheriff's Office. Chief Collins communicated with the sheriff down in Avoyelles. So what happened is that we can't keep our females any longer, our pretrial females at the detention center here in Natchitoches. But we do need somewhere to house them. And so we got an agreement with the Avoyelles, I guess the sheriff of the parish of Avoyelles. And so that's really what this is about, to have those females housed there since they no longer can be housed here locally. Did I miss anything, Chief Collins?
No, sir. That summarized it. Basically, we have to choose a facility that can store them for that long-term pretrial. But we try to utilize Sabine when possible if they have availability, but due to just sheer numbers, it's difficult. So we have since in the years used the Boyles, but the sheriff there requires a cooperative agreement now, just to outline what is required because there's certain overhead that may have to occur in case someone's injured or in transportation. It's clearly lines out what we're responsible for so that there will be no misunderstandings in dealing with the prisoners.
Any comment or question about this, council? Any comment in general?
Is
All
there a
right.
cost we have to pay for? Well, I
Yep.
didn't see it in here. What's the
Yes, ma'am, they're,
cost?
they're using the same state rate that we would have to pay at
Same,
any other
okay.
facility. Yes, ma'am.
Right. All right, Mrs. Stacy, roll call vote.
Eli,
Yes.
Nelson,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Harrington.
Yes.
Peachy.
Yes.
All right, that motion carries. Next item is ordinance number 40 of 2024. Councilman PT.
Thank you, Mayor. Ordinance number 040 of 2024, an ordinance to designate funds from the American Rescue Plan for the use by the City of Natchitoches to assist the Historic District Business Association with funding for additional security for the 2024 Christmas festival season, authorizing the execution of any and all documents necessary to properly effectuate such purchases and otherwise providing with respect thereto. I so move to adopt ordinance number 040.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. This is something we've done, I know, at least 2 years prior to this one, to just help with parking lot security. I'd like to say maybe it's had some impact, especially, thinking about some of the things that happened in 2021. So I think we've seen some positive impact, but we've also had that security during this time. Obviously, we know we're a tourist city, and this is Christmas time, so we want to do our best to make sure we are giving everybody a great experience. So GLEO reached out, who's Part City, but also HDBA, to see if we're going to partner with them again, and we still have a few American Rescue Plan funds left, so we're proposing to allocate it there. Any comment about this? Like I said, we've had it the last 2 years for sure, and we want to provide that additional security. Any comment? All right, seeing none, Mrs. Stacy, roll call vote.
Eli,
Yes.
Nelson,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Harrington.
Yes.
Peachy.
Yes.
All right, that motion carries. We've got 2 ordinances for introduction. One we've actually already done, and thank you again, Councilman PT, for working with us on that, as Matt explained. Ordinance number 49 of 2024 is the benefit we would get if we have voted to be members of LEPA, or full requirement members of LEPA. So that would be that incentive, that 525 over 2 years. That's what that was about. So we'll see that on the 13th. So since we've already introduced that, let's move on to Councilman Nielsen's ordinance number 50 of 2024.
Thank you, Mayor. Ordinance number 50, 2024, an ordinance authorizing the mayor of the City of Natchitoches, Ronnie Williams Jr., to execute a termination of existing lease in favor of Mark Milliken of that 21,785.76 square foot area shown and depicted as Lot 4 of the Natchitoches Regional Airport, as shown on the airport layout plan of April 12, 1994, further authorizing the mayor of the City of Natchitoches, Ronnie Williams Jr., to execute a new lease in favor of Mark Milliken of that 21,785.76 square foot area shown and depicted as Lot 4 of the Natchitoches Regional Airport, as shown on the airport layout plan, approving a sublease to Air Data Solutions, LLC, authorizing the mayor of the City of Natchitoches, Ronnie Williams Jr., to execute a subordination attornment and non-disturbance agreement, and further providing for advertising of the lease and effective date. And whereas the City of Natchitoches is the owner of those lots shown on the airport layout plan, which said lots are available for lease, and more particularly is the owner of Lot 4 as shown on the layout plan. And whereas further, in light of the revision of the Louisiana Revised Statute, Mark Milliken has approached the city and requested that his current lease be reworked to provide for a 30-year term, and the mayor of the City of Natchitoches, Ronnie Williams Jr., has negotiated the terms of a new 30-year lease of the subject property with Mark Milliken, whereas further, the city further desires to terminate the existing lease agreement for the subject property with Mark Milliken and replace the existing lease agreement with the proposed 30-year lease agreement. And whereas further, the terms of the proposed lease are for a 30-year period with consideration of 10 cents per square foot per year, being $2,178.57 per year, with cost of living increases to be applied every 5 years, all as set forth in the attached lease agreement by and between the City of Natchitoches and Mark Milliken. Any opposition to this ordinance shall be made in writing, filed with the clerk of the City of Natchitoches within 15 days after the first publication of this ordinance, and that a public hearing be held after the advertisements have been completed, that the mayor, Ronnie Williams Jr., being he is hereby authorized after due proceedings had and after legal delays have run to execute an instrument terminating that existing lease of Lot 4 of the airport layout plan, which has a term beginning November 27, 2020 through November 26, 2030. Any termination shall be effective the same date that the new lease contemplated herein becomes effective. And this is for introduction, I think. Yes.
One of the big changes, I know typically we do 10 years on lease at the airport. This is one, the request was made for a 30-year lease. And we tried to get to a point to where there's a win-win for both the person who leases the hangar from us and also for the city. Alex, is there any additional comment? I know you were more intimately involved with this.
Yeah, I mean, I spoke to a few of the council members, but we did add in some language that the lease payments, it'll be market rate. I know he mentioned about the cost of living, that they're evaluated every 5 years, but I think we're gonna add some more language when we do the completed lease to make sure the rate is market rate over this period, so the city never loses. We're receiving the amount, the commencement right for the lease.
Okay. Any comments, council, about this? All right, again, this is just for introduction, so we got about a month before it comes back, just like with those other things that were introduced, so please ask any questions, and at that time, we'll have Mr. Milliken here on the 13th, if he's able to be here, to make any comment he needs to make, okay? All righty. We've got a few resolutions to end our agenda, 4 resolutions to be exact, and the first one is read by Councilwoman Elora Smith.
Thank you, Mayor. Resolution number 105 of 2024, a resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into a contract with Midwest Employers Casualty Company for the workers' compensation excess coverage policy for the city of Natchitoches. Whereas the insurance committee has reviewed the proposals submitted by Midwest Employers Casualty Company for the handling of the workers' compensation excess coverage policy for the city of Natchitoches, and whereas the annual premium for this contract is $96,927 for the period of January 1st, 2025 through January 1st, 2026. And whereas it is the recommendation of the committee that the contract be awarded to Midwest Employers Casualty Company, now therefore be resolved that the Honorable Ronnie Williams, Jr. Mayor, is hereby authorized and empowered and directed to sign any and all documents necessary for the execution of this contract. And I move for adoption of resolution number 105 of 2024 for approval.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Ed, you got a comment on this?
Now, this is a good renewal. It's, the premium on the excess work comp coverage is based on the total payroll of the city of Natchitoches. I mean, that's everybody, part-time and full-time. And because of pay increases for the employees that go up, the basis for calculating the renewal also went up because the total payroll is larger. But it's a good renewal.
Okay, comments or questions?
I think this is something we do every year anyway.
Yes,
We
ma'am.
have to do it, yes.
Yeah, we have to have, since we're self-insured, we have to have access work comp. The state of Louisiana requires us to have it for the really big claims.
Okay. All right, seeing no comments or questions, Mrs. Stacy, roll call vote.
Eli,
Yes.
Nelson.
Yes.
Smith.
Yes.
Harrington.
Yes.
Petey.
Yes.
All right, that motion carries. Next item is resolution number 106 of 2024, and that's Councilman Nielsen.
Thank you, Mayor. Resolution number 106 of 2024, resolution authorizing the mayor to execute change order number 1 to the contract between the City of Natchitoches and Lemoyne Company, LLC, for water treatment facility improvements, Phase 1, bid number 0667, whereas the City of Natchitoches awarded the bid to Lemoyne Company on May 28, 2024 by ordinance number 11 of 2024 in the amount of $9,217,000 for water treatment facility improvements, Phase 1, bid number 0667, and whereas on December 3, 2024, contractor issued change order number 1, fully described in attachment A, and whereas the contract sum will be increased by this change order number 1 in the amount of $16,815, and the revised contract total will be $9,233,815, whereas the project engineer, Andrew Berner, has recommended this change order, and whereas the city is of the opinion that change order number 1 is in the best interest of the city, whereas the approval of change order number 1 is contingent on approval by the Office of Community Development Water Sector Program. Now therefore be it resolved by the Council of the City of Natchitoches in legal session convened that the Honorable Ronnie Williams, Jr., Mayor, being as hereby authorized, empowered, and directed to execute the reference change order number 1 to the agreement between the City of Natchitoches and the contractor Lemoyne Company, LLC. And I move to adopt Resolution 106 of 2024.
Second.
Motion made in second. I think, Matt, we have some images to share. You have the
Yeah, I
commentary?
think we just have one picture. Of course, everything else is still buried in the ground. But part of the first parts of this project were to install inserter valves at 2 of the lines that leave the water plant that tie it into the rest of the distribution system in the city. So we wanted those insertion valves in place as one of the first things they do. That's so in case something is damaged inside the plant during construction, we can isolate the plant from the rest of the distribution system. So we have 3 main lines leaving the plant, a 16, an 18, and a 24. We have a good valve on the 18. So we needed a valve on the 24 and the 16. We've already got the valve on the 24, but when they dug up the 16, and all of our prints show it's at 16, it was actually an 18. Why it's an 18 inside the plant? Because we know it actually goes under Cane River and comes up over on Williams Avenue, goes to Royal Street down East 5th. Why it's an 18 inside the plant and not a 16, I cannot answer that. All of our plans show it's a 16. But upon digging it up, it's an 18. So this cost is the cost difference between the 16 and the 18-inch valve.
Let me see, you
And-
said
and
we
that- I
needed
just
an
wanted-
18?
2 inch.
We needed an 18.
We needed an 18, correct. So what I wanted to show this just for reference, that when we're dealing with pipe of this size, we can't just shut that pipe off. Hence the need for the valve. This is what they're gonna have to do. They're gonna have to put in all this bypass pumping to be able to cut the pipe. So once that is installed, they'll cut that pipe you see down at the bottom of the picture, and then we'll cut in a new valve. And then they'll take all that bypass piping away. That's all just temporary, to keep that line in service while that valve is being installed. I just wanted to show that, because that's why we're talking about a $56,000 valve.
So this is an image somewhere else of what they're going to
That's
do
right,
here.
but it was given to, I asked the company that does these sorts of things, hey, send me a picture of one of these installed somewhere so we know what we're talking about, and that's it right there. So you'll see that same thing at our water plant when they start doing it.
You said 56,000, but the change order is 16,000.
Right, but they're giving us credit for the 16 that's not being installed, so the net difference is 16,000.
Okay,
So the 16-inch valve was $40,000, and this one will be 56.
gotcha. I understand.
85 business inch.
Only 2 inches.
That's a lot.
So this was not taken into consideration, I'm assuming,
Didn't matter.
Assuming that the plans were
because the
correct.
plans was,
Okay. And I will say, we do have a video we're going to push out probably next week or two, just to kind of give you some updates on the status of the project. Any other comment or question on this one? All right, seeing none, Mrs. Stacy, roll call vote.
Eli,
Yes.
Nelson,
Yes.
Smith,
yes.
Harrington,
Yes.
Peachy.
Yes.
Motion carries. All right, next item is Resolution 107 of 2024. Councilwoman Washington Eli.
Resolution numbers 107, 2024, resolution authorizing to execute intergovernmental agreement in IGA between the City of Natchitoches, Louisiana, by through its fire department grant and the following is Natchitoches Parish Fire Protection District, District 1 of Natchitoches Fire Protection 2, 3, 4, District 5, District 7, District 8, District 9, and District 10 are also of the Natchitoches Parish Fire Protection. And it was Assistant Fire Chief grant for the U.S. Department of Homeland Security. And the fire chiefs authorized to execute the IGA on the behalf of the cities. And the resolution effect immediately upon attachment by the city council. And I move to adopt resolution number 107 of 2024.
Second.
Chief Wynn, we need this intergovernmental agreement. Can you elaborate?
Yes, sir. So we also need to add Fire District 6 to that agreement. And this agreement is, so in 2012, we wrote a grant, regional grant for the parish for radios. Our radios that we currently have are at end of life. And so we're rewriting a grant again to get new radios. And it would be for the whole parish and not just for the city. It'd be for the parish. So it's something we've done before and we're doing it again.
Okay. So let the record reflect that Fire District 6 should be added to this resolution.
Correct.
All right?
And that was my fault on that when we wrote the bill. So yes, they need to be added to it.
So that's just a typo. We'll make sure on final passage, 6 is included.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. And you said, Chief Wynn, these are for radios, you said?
Yes, sir. These are for portable radios. Our little handhelds that we carry on our side, that's for that.
Okay. And we've got Merchant McIntyre writing this for us.
Yes, sir. Merchant McIntyre is writing it for us.
All right. Gotcha. Comments, questions here? All right. Seeing none, Mrs. Stacy, roll call vote.
Eli,
Yes.
Nelson.
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Harrington.
Yes.
Peachy.
Yes.
All right, that motion carries. And I originally said 4 resolutions, actually 5, if you will be willing to amend the agenda for us. But this 4th of the 5th of the 5 is Resolution 108 of 2024, Councilman Harrington.
This is Resolution 108 of 2024, a resolution authorizing, consenting, and/or ratifying the Industrial Development Board of the City of Natchitoches to execute documents relating to the proposed extension of the lease agreement in connection with the Edgewater Fairground LLC pilot lease agreement and providing for other matters in connection with the foregoing. Instead of reading throughout the entire resolution, I'll let possibly Alex discuss, and I'll move to adopt Resolution 108 of 2024.
I second.
Motion made and seconded. Alex, any those comment?
Yeah, this is an extension to the current pilot between Edgewater Fairground LLC and the IDB. This legislation basically is the city council supporting the extension. The lease actually expires December 31st of 2024. In order to continue with the fairgrounds having affordable housing, excuse me, we need to change this to a 20-year extension. So the approval will actually come from the IDB. This is just the council saying that we support the extension. So
It's
pretty much to
needed.
benefit the community.
Community, yeah.
Their tax break as it's normally been, but it keeps the housing affordable.
Mm-hmm. Any questions or comments? All right, seeing none, Mrs. Stacy, roll call vote.
Eli,
Yes.
Nelson.
Yes.
Smith.
Yes.
Harrington.
Yes.
Petey.
Yes.
All right, that motion carries. This point, I would ask council that you would motion to amend the agenda to add resolution number 109 of 2024.
May I make a motion to amend the agenda to add resolution number 109 of 2024?
Second.
Motion made and seconded. This is connected to the Natchitoches Apartments. And and I can tell you more about what it is particularly in just a moment. Any comments about the motion to amend? All right, seeing none, Mrs. Stacy, roll call vote.
Eli,
Yes.
Nelson.
Yes.
Smith.
Yes.
Harrington.
Yes.
Petey.
Yes.
All right, that motion carries. And now, Councilman PT, resolution number 109 of 2024.
Thank you, Mayor. Resolution number 109 of 2024, a resolution repealing resolution number 096 of 2024 and approving an annual payment in lieu of taxes related to the substantial rehab of the Natchitoches Apartments. May I make a motion to adopt ordinance number 109?
A second.
Motion made and seconded. Talked to Attorney Mike Busada earlier. I know Alex did as well. Asked him to send me a note as to why this was needed. And something I think that they didn't know last week when our agenda was due, but Freddie Mac requires the abatement, that the abatement lasts for 20 years in order to count the savings as part of the funds needed for the project. They won't provide the funding unless the developer can show that it has all of the funds needed to do the project. The tax savings are a key piece of that, is what Busada sent me. So again, this is a requirement from Freddie Mac. They discovered it, I guess, sometime today, Ms. Stacy, and then they reached out to us just in time. Any comment or question about this, council? Again, this is connected to the Natchitoches Apartment project. All right.
For council purposes, this is almost the exact legislation that you passed. They just added in a 20-year term, so they're getting ready to do a conventional loan. Sometimes you need terms in there for that to happen. So they added 20, not to exceed 25, and that's the new paragraph they dropped in this legislation.
Okay, thank you for that. All right, Mrs. Stacy, roll call vote.
Eli,
Yes.
Nelson.
Yes.
Smith.
Yes.
Harrington.
Yes.
Petey.
Yes.
All right, that motion carries. There will not be a city council meeting. You know, in December, we typically have the one, and that's the first Monday, the first of the second, only the second Monday. Only the second Monday, that's what it is. All right, so we don't do one on the fourth Monday in the month. All right, so our next meeting is actually going to be January 13th, 2025, and then city offices are going to be closed on Tuesday the 24th, Wednesday the 25th for Christmas, and then the following week for the new year, the Tuesday 31st, and then the 1st, which is that Wednesday. We always encourage people to download Regroup and also the Go Natchitoches app. I think we have a few other announcements we just want to share with you real quickly. We announced this the last time. Again, registration for basketball on those days, the 25th to the 10th, if you're doing it in person, and then you get a couple extra days if you're doing it online, all right? And it has a cost and everything like that. And we also do have some funds in the Angel Fund. I know Kevin and Blake work hard to solicit contributions, so we appreciate that, to allow people to, some of our youth to play. All right, this is a Makers Fair. This is on December 10th through the 12th. And then they have, that's going to be from 10 to 7 on those days. Then December 13th from 10 to 2. So Northwestern State's Department of Fine and Graphic Art will host annual Makers Fair. It's going to be downstairs, Orville Hanchy Gallery. All right? And so they've got the hours, like we said, 10 to 7. Okay, Northwestern State University Chamber Choir will present a candlelight service of lessons and carols. This is going to be tomorrow at 7:30 at Immaculate Conception, which is right down the street from where we are. Admission is free, open to the public. So that's tomorrow at 7:30. Should be interesting. Encourage y'all to attend. This is something that I know folks at Royal Martin is really trying to push. So happening this Wednesday, December 11th, 2 sessions at 3 and 5:30. So basically a career fair. They've got some positions they're looking to fill, and if you know somebody or looking for an opportunity, we got Councilman. I thought that was Councilman PT up there on the flyer at first glance. I'm like, look at Councilman PT. Yeah, no, but so I mean, Councilman PT knows they've been a great company. So, 2024 Thrive Gala, Eat, Drink, and Be Merry. It's going to be the 12th, which is this Thursday from 5 to 8 p.m. at the H.A. Cook Guest House in Taylor Park, right? And then, of course, we are encouraging people to participate in our Christmas festivities. Great festival weekend. I think that obviously the forecast, I think some people stayed home, but given that we have the drone shows coming up this weekend, and we said there's one more drone show, is that what we're saying?
Is it one
I
more?
think it's the next 2 weekends.
2 more drone shows. 2 more drone shows. All right, so the lighted boat parade is what they're asking you to register for. If you have a boat, you want to get it in the boat parade. So that's another activity. Pretty cool.
Glad to see that back.
Yes, ma'am? The 12th. Oh, yeah. So what we're saying is, yeah, we've got you may have seen the press release about, it's partially grant funded, what we've got for Ben Park, the redesign of the Ben Park. So that's going to be on the 12th. And where did we say that is? Here. It's going to be here. So on the 12th here, starting at what time?
5 o'clock, I think.
5 o'clock, all right. So, again, the press release has been out. We might create a graphic as well just to get people there. As we know, got a lot going on. Tickets on sale. We've, of course, had the Christmas festival, but we do have those weekends, now we're past Christmas festival, but we have the other weekends as well. So, all right. Any other announcements, Steve, that we have? And just Merry Christmas, Happy New Year's. This is our last meeting of the year. All right. It's been a long meeting. I think we're happy. Somebody will give a motion to adjourn at this particular time, huh?
May I so move we join?
All right. Motion is made. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All right. Meeting is adjourned. Have a good night, folks. Happy New Year. Merry Christmas.